Okay, so this slide shows you the number of views of 5 videos on YouTube. What we're being asked to do is to round each of the answers to the nearest 100,000. I have a funny cat video that is 612,300 views, a funny dog video, 487,450 views, a llama, 362,420 views, another funny cat video, 649,500, and a giraffe pulling a funny face, 532,999. So we're going to round each of them to the nearest 100,000 and we're going to sort them into the boxes below. So I'm going to do the first one, we'll do the second one together, and then you can do the last 3. I'm going to label them, I think. I'm going to label them A for the cat, B for the dog wearing the glasses, C for the llama, D for the cat with the funny face in front of it, and E for the giraffe pulling the funny face, so that when I organise them, it might help me to put them in my table. So I'll do the first one. We're rounding to the nearest 100,000. So I'm going to step in front here and I'm going to drop a line after the 100,000s digit. The 100,000s digit is the 6, because I had ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And I look to see how the digit in the 10,000s column affects the digit in the 100,000s column. Now, the digit in the 10,000s column falls into the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 group, which tells me we'll round down to the previous 100,000. So if you remember, the digit in front of the line stays the same, and then all of the other digits are filled in with placeholder zeros. So the answer is 600,000. 612,300 rounds down to the previous 100,000 of 600,000. So I'm going to say A, my funny cat video, falls into this column here. Maybe I will write it in as well. That was at 612,300. Should we have a go at B together, the dog wearing the glasses at the laptop? So copy the number out. So that was 487,450. And let's drop that line after the 100,000s digit. Are you ready to drop the line? Here we go. So the 100,000s digit is the 4. So let's drop down that line after that 100,000s digit. And let's look at how the 10,000 digit impacts the 100,000s digit. Well, the 10,000 digit is an 8. That falls into the 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 group, which tells me it rounds up to the next 100,000. So the digit in front of the line goes up by 1 to was a 4, it goes up to a 5, and then all of those other digits are filled in with placeholder zeros. So 487,450 has rounded up to that next 100,000 of 500,000. So B falls into the middle column. That was our 487,450. So what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to pause the video. I'd like you to have a go at rounding C, D and E to the nearest 100,000 and find which column each of those fall into when they're rounded. There's a challenge, so I'll read that to you so you can have a think about that as well. When rounded to the nearest 100,000, consider if each answer is an underestimate or an overestimate of the original number of views. And by that I mean which would make the videos sound more popular. Would an overestimate of views or an underestimate of views make the video sound more popular? So pause your video and have a go at the last 3 questions and the challenge. Welcome back. So let's have a look at C. did you drop your line after that 100,000s digit? So the 3 is the 100,000s digit. And we're looking at the impact that the 6 in the 10,000s column has on the 3 in the 100,000s column. The 6 falls into the 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 group, which tells me that my number will round up to that next 100,000. The impact of that is the 100,000s digit goes up by 1. It was a 3, so it goes up to a 4. And all of those other place value columns are filled in with placeholder zeros. So 362,420 rounds up to that next 100,000 of 400,000. So hopefully you've put C, the llama video, into the rounds to 400,000 group. That was 362,420. What about the cat with the funny picture in front of his face? So let's drop down that line after the 100,000 digit, which is the 6 in this case. And let's look at what group the 10,000 digit falls into. It's a 4. So that's into the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 group, which tells me it rounds down to the previous 100,000. The rule says we keep the digit in front of the line the same. So we have a 6, and then all of those rest of those digits are replaced by placeholder zeros. So 649,500, when rounded to the nearest 100,000, rounds down to that previous 100,000 of 600,000. So D falls into my last column. That was 649,500. What about the giraffe who's putting a funny face? Let's have a look at him and see which column he falls into. So drop down that line after that 100,000s digit of the 5, and the 3 in the 10,000s column falls into the 0 to 4 group, which tells me that the number will round down to the previous 100,000 number. So the rule says the number in front of that line remains the same. It remains a 5, and then all of the rest of the columns are filled in with placeholder zeros. So 532,999 rounds down to that previous 100,000 number, which is 500,000. So E also falls into that middle group. Did you manage to have a go at the challenge? So remember, the question was to consider if each answer is an over or an underestimate of the original amount of views, and whether that would make the video sound more or less popular. Well, if we go to my cat video, it actually had over 612,000 views, 612,300 views to be exact. But when it was rounded to the nearest 100,000, the number of views actually went down. It certainly looked like it did. It was an underestimate of how many views that video had had. Now, I think that makes the video seem less popular, because actually it's saying that less people had watched it than had actually watched it. Whereas if I look at the dog one, it had 487,450 views. When it rounded to that nearest 100,000, it rounded up to 500,000. So the rounded number is actually saying that more people watched it than it actually did. So it makes that video sound a bit more popular than it actually was. So if our answer is rounded up, it makes the video sound a bit more popular. So that's the same with C. I think it's just C actually. Whereas if it's rounded down to that previous 100,000s number, it makes the video sound less popular.